was playing part of a video that I've had. I kind of forgot about, well, I didn't forget about it, but I haven't looked at it for a while. I had to dig a little bit on my likes to find it again, but I'm going to share the link in case you haven't seen this one. Probably a lot of you have seen something similar to this maybe, but just in case you didn't, this is, a lot different than the images you'll see, the paintings of the planets, the stars. Well, the planets are the stars. The planets are the wandering stars. You could do your research on that and actually make the connection with the words planet. That's what planet means. It's not like a planet like you think, some dirt ball, just like, I don't know, NASA's whatever, garbage. It's a wandering star that they're not fixed. That's all there is, and there's a few of them. And that's all it is. We don't live on a planet, that's spinning and moving in space. And I know this is, for some reason, people that seem like they're interested in truth, a lot of them can't get over this hurdle that they've been deceived that the earth isn't a globe. They're on sciences and this world's, Satan's world. They're on their side with this truth, and I just don't understand why. They've got them brainwashed into going with like debates. We're going to go and debate who's smarter. Therefore, in my head, the creation is, I don't do that. It's just the revelation I was given a long time ago. And a lot of people got woke up to the fact that the globe earth is a lie. That's not like big news anymore. What it is exactly, I haven't made that claim with any 100% certainty, but it's not moving, it's not spinning. It's pretty, I just know it's true. That's it. There's nothing to debate about it. I just know it's not spinning and it's not hurling around the sun in sun worship, 666,000 miles per hour going and worshiping around the sun, and the sun is bigger than like all the other things. And it's just, we're all going around the sun in some blackness of darkness, and for eternal blackness of darkness, just spinning. It's insane, but they have made the globe earth in a way that if you don't think about it, it might make sense with the light and the day. But as soon as you start questioning some of these things, it goes straight to the trash if you seek truth on it. And you could see they're liars. All their movies, when the sun rises, it's like dark, and then a little bit of blue, and then or when it sets. And then this blue goes everywhere in all their films, and then just boom, darkness. Every single one of them. That's not reality. It doesn't become pitch dark as soon as the sun sets. The light is fading away because the sun is literally going away from you. It's that simple. It's not moving because the earth is spinning. It's stupidity. He made the foundation firm. It cannot be moved. It shall not be moved. It doesn't move. Many scriptures on this. Of course, they try to twist those scriptures too and say that they give their own definition of what that means. It doesn't even make sense. When you're desperate, that's the interpretation you're going to get. Like, I guess the earth itself is in like splitting and we're moving. I don't know what they say with those, but it literally means we're not moving. One of the more obvious ones, if you believe the scriptures, if you don't, you won't believe it. There's nothing I can do about it. But the sun stopped when the heavens are they're the watch, they're the time. That's the time is up there. It's all set. It's the heavens. They're the clock. Now, What needed to happen to give them more time to defeat their enemies? The sun stopped and the moon stood still. That gave them more time. Pretty shameful to say that the earth's not the Bible's not a science book, and that what he meant to say is the earth stopped spinning. That for it looks like that's literally what they do. Unbelievable. They don't actually believe those words. The sun stopped, not the earth. Very simple, very easy to understand, but they can't get over the fact that they've been had and the whole world is deceived. Like it says, Satan deceives the whole world about what? Everything. Everything. Name it. It's a deception. Name it, there's confusion. And the leaders of this world, they're not atheists. They're all religious. They're all into all those pagan religions. Freemasonry is like a combination of all the different gods, from Allah to whatever, Tammuz and the sun gods and everything, you know? It's just and their Jesus Christ is part of this pagan thing, okay? They don't believe in any of the actual truth, Freemasons. It's an evil religion. It's a counterfeit. It's all it is a counterfeit. Most of these Hollywood actors, you know, they're Freemasons, Kabbalah, whatever they're into. They're all into some kind of spirituality. They know that they didn't get their power from believing in atheism. Okay, they got their power because they got on the side of the enemy and the devil. Make a contract, and you know, then we'll give you everything this world has to offer. That's it. And it seems to me once you make that contract, there's no coming back. I'm not going to speak for every single person, but if it isn't 99.9%, though, once you're in Hollywood, you're toast. It's over. You can't undo what you've done, even if you try to repent. You're always going to be selling millions of your albums and movies and everything continually. How do you undo that? What? Please take it down? They can't do that. They won't do that. You can't take it down. Not unless you own it, and you don't own it. You don't own it. They get to decide whether it's taken down and not able to be bought anywhere, just totally snuffed out. You can't do that. You can't undo what you've done in Hollywood. How do you repent? You know, how do you repent? Even if let's say you supposedly repent, you're deceiving more people through your work every day than you'll ever, you know, give people truth. So you're never going to overcome that. That's my, you know, if you believe something else, don't make it a big deal and divide over it, but I'm giving like a 0.01% chance maybe that some people come out of there, but the ones that come out of there are probably frauds and agents to suck people in, you know, and make it look like, oh, he's a true Christian believer, came out of Hollywood. Even those are frauds, most of these, if not all of them. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal, man. It's for us, maybe we can't quite see it or understand it. We should at least a little bit, because there's a spiritual thing that happens once you become that and do that. The doors aren't there to go away from it. The doors just don't exist. You might try to go there, but then you'll just be destroyed. So you're either stuck with it the rest of your life or you're gonna die. That's it. Those are your options. That's my thoughts on that. But this is an interesting video on, you know, this is science. This is real science. You can check out all kinds of videos that have messed with the frequencies and stuff. Sonoluminescence, cymatics, you know, these things, they have proven it. They've proven it. Not necessarily just this example proves whatever they're claiming, but you can duplicate, you can replicate it, you can test it. You can make something look just like a star that flashes, you know, and the light is from all the heat. Do I understand all those things? No, I don't have to understand them perfectly, but it makes sense. It's logical. Of course, this video specifically has a little, whoever made it believed in flat Earth, which is fine, you know, because as long as the globe Earth is being exposed, or brings people to question it, you know, because I myself can't say 100% sure, just not 100% sure on that. Besides what I continue to maintain, it's stationary, whatever it is. The heavens are local and they move, and there's a firmament, the physical barrier, and there's water above there, above the firmament, and there's probably 3 layers, and the sun, moon, stars are in the firmament, meaning you'd have to go past a glass barrier to land on the moon, which is not possible. So then you couldn't do it even if you wanted to. Total nonsense. They don't believe the scriptures. They don't believe Genesis. Separated the waters from beneath, from the waters above the firmament, and placed all the stars, moon, and sun within the firmament. You can't touch them. You can't get to them. And there's, I don't know how much, but apparently a lot. There's waters above there. It doesn't make a distinction. It just says waters from below separated from the waters above the firmament. So then how's that work with the globe Earth model? It doesn't. Just admit that you don't believe the scriptures and you're 100% against them, and you don't believe that every word is true, or believe it. Believe the scriptures. There is no firmament on the globe or Earth model, okay? There, of course, now with more people questioning with technology and all these things, with high-powered zoom cameras and telescopes that people can have for themselves, now more recently they came up with some kind of barrier, some kind of heat thing, shield, whatever they call it, you can't pass through, but they apparently passed through it in the 60s. There's so many contradictions, man. Just give up the globe Earth. Whatever you believe, don't believe in that, because it's a lie. It's Satan's Earth. There is no firmament. It's too late. You can't undo what they did in the 60s. They said they went to the moon and you can go straight up with no barrier. They did it. They said it. Okay, so the globe Earth doesn't have a barrier no matter what they tell you today. Unless you just love juicy contradictions that destroy it itself. Because when you have a contradiction, it no longer can be true, whatever it is. So in the 60s, they went straight up. No barrier, straight to the moon, and they're saying they can go to Mars and all this stuff. But the scriptures say there's a firmament, and it's like hard and it's strong, and it's like molten glass, or it's like a hard mirror. And glass is a mirror, isn't it? Or it can be a mirror. So then there's a, you know, if there wasn't some kind of physical barrier, then all the water would just come down, wouldn't it? We would be flooded. So it's just right from the beginning, believe what the scriptures say. There's a firmament that destroys the globe model. That's all you need. That's all you need to believe and see, that there's a firmament, a literal firmament, and that there's waters above. That's impossible on the globe model. Done, fixed, you know, hosed, smoked. It's a lie. It's over, done. Combine the 100 verses or 50 verses that say the earth doesn't move, however many there are, and the verses that say the heavens move, and specifically the sun stopped, the moon stopped, meaning that they were moving, and our Creator is not wrong about this, inspiring the prophets to write. You're literally saying that they didn't know, that the prophets were deceived, but we know now the prophets were truly deceived. They just said, well, it looks like the sun stopped, but they didn't actually know that. They thought that the earth wasn't spinning or moving, so they said the sun stopped and the moon stopped. But really, we got to correct those prophets. The earth stopped to make it look like the sun and moon stopped moving. That's what you believe? The prophets were a bunch of liars? Then you believe the Father's a liar too. That's why I hate the globe earth, and that's why I don't have anything to do with it. I don't know who these people are that still believe in it. Probably just genuinely deceived, most likely. They've gotten into the math and paper. Like, that has nothing to do with reality. Let's just talk about numbers and paper. We won't do any experiments or prove anything because we can't. But, prove it. You've ever seen someone go to space? You've seen it with your own eyes. So why do you believe the man so much, but you don't believe in our Creator, what he says? Nobody's seen anyone go to space with their own eyes. No one. Not a single soul. Ever. Well, first of all, it never happened. But even if it did, no one saw it. No one could prove it. That's not science, something you can't prove. And the 60s garbage is so easily provable, or it's easy to prove it. It was faked and it's wrong, and there's so many problems with it. Bubbles in space, supposedly, okay? Because they did this junk underwater. That's what it is to be in space, underwater. Slow bubbles coming up from their helmets. Total nonsense. Their stupid no gravity plane or whatever they're in, supposedly up in space. You could see the strings, you could see their clothes being pulled like this. You could tell that there was something going on, and you could find all kinds of problems vanishing and just literally disappearing, proving that the video is fraudulent and made up, that they've modified it. There's so many angles to attack it, and then you got the whole entire Hollywood scene. So many TV shows, cartoons, movies that mocks it. Oh, we went to space. They mock it for you, and everybody just sits back and laughs. They don't get it. They're mocking you right in your face. They're telling you we didn't go to space. You don't believe it. People who don't believe it, you guys don't believe it. You still believe we went to some place called space. Go out one night and look at the moon and stare at it and meditate for a minute or two and imagine going in a rocket and going up there to the moon. It's total insanity. It's stupidity. Here's the reality. We know for a fact that the air gets thinner and thinner and thinner, and that the reason why they fly at a certain altitude for the passenger planes is for fuel economy. Obviously, look at the money. That would be number one. They get the best fuel economy somewhere in the 35,000 foot range, because lower, there's more wind resistance. Too high, and your thrust is being wasted because there's no atmosphere to push off, or less. So then there is an actual reality where there's a certain height that's optimal. Go a little lower or a little higher and you start losing fuel economy. What about 60,000 feet? Well, it's got way thinner at 60 than 30, and much higher than that. You can't even breathe. That's a fact. You can't breathe at 60,000. Your car wouldn't start at 70,000 feet high. It's so simple. It's amazing what it is reduced to. The most simple thing on earth, that eventually the air gets so thin that a rocket can't push off the atmosphere anymore and you can't go any higher. And that's already happening at 70,000 feet. The air's so thin. Now they go higher than that because of the sheer momentum they had for the first 70,000 feet, and there is still, it's not like there is still atmosphere. It's just really thin. And you can't push off of it anymore. It's like physical, the air, wind blows you down and knocks you down. Tell me it's not physical. There's a physical aspect to it. That's how every propped airplane runs. If the If the blade were flat blades, it wouldn't go anywhere. It would just spin at 10,000 RPMs and literally won't move a single bit. So you need pitch. Pitch. Why? Because it pulls or pushes, depending if it's in the front or back. It'll blow, pull or push air, physical, and that creates momentum. That's what moves you. Now, if you had no atmosphere, like so-called space, it would be the same as spinning a flat blade with no pitch, zero pitch. It just wouldn't do anything. People have done tests. People made their own vacuum environment, which doesn't even compare to the vacuum of space because it's way stronger up there. You can't light a fire. You can't start a fire in a vacuum. You can't do anything in a true vacuum. And if you believe the mythbusters that you can, I feel sorry for you. You should repent for believing those skunks, because they're a bunch of paid agents. Okay, when they need to lie, they're gonna lie, and that's what they did. They don't. It's so simple. Why did that little thing in a little tiny box vacuum that they built? Why did it move? Because it's pushing against the wall. It does. It's not very complicated. He still had a physical. That's not an example of a true vacuum in space. There's no physical barrier in space. So they built a little tiny box that's, according to their vacuum gauge, had a vacuum, and it probably did. And then when that little mini whatever they used thrusted, pushed out, right, like a rocket, it pushed against the barrier. So that's how it could still move forward. Now, if it didn't have that barrier in a vacuum, it wouldn't go anywhere. But they said, look, it's a vacuum. Here's the picture, and we prove that it went into a vacuum, and it moved. Done, Mythbusters. Idiots. It fooled the whole entire world with that myth. People actually believe it. Oh, you're not a scientist. You're not. It's that simple. They still had a barrier in there. That's it. That's all it's reduced to. His truth is not, overly complex or illogical or anything. It's reduced to simple things because it's logical. It's not very hard to understand. But those who did some honest tests, from what I can see and discern, they had like a high temp, I don't know, laser thing, and I forget the material that they lit, but it ignites and it burns up, right? So first he did a normal test and pointed at it and burned up, then went into a vacuum and nothing happened. Nothing happened. So contradictions, right? The fact is, nothing at 100,000 feet could breathe. It can't move. It can't do anything. You can only go so high. The Creator didn't allow you to go to the heavens. You can only go so high. In fact, they went higher with an air balloon than any jet or plane because they can't go any higher. They can't go any higher than whatever it is, 60, 70,000 feet, the highest ever. So they went higher with a balloon that can go higher at 10,000 feet. That's the highest man has ever been. Of course, what they say is save the rockets, save the rocket that went to the moon. It's the highest that man has ever been. When NASA did that balloon thing, that was real. Then they used the GoPro lens, and the Earth was literally bent like this, like they're above, like you're not even high enough to see the whole state, let alone the whole world. And it's curving like this. Look at the curve. If you complete the curve, that means the world is smaller than one state. So sad. So sad. Pathetic. Look at the curve, or a curve. And if you complete that circle, they can't get it in their mind that means the world is like no bigger than one state. If it completes a curve like that, it's total insanity. Flatlands doesn't show any of that. And you can't breathe, obviously. So they had oxygen, and the guy jumped at like 110,000 feet or whatever. And that's it. That's the highest man has ever gone, because nobody's been in a rocket going past 110,000 feet. You know, it's total insanity. You'd have to be insane and retarded to actually do that. So that's it, you know. Then then it's like, so you're flying with the rocket and you're getting close to the moon, I guess, but now you're in space, and there's no way to stop. There's no way to thrust the other way so you can land, and there's no thrust in space. Sorry, it doesn't work. There's no such thing in what they call space, which is a perfect vacuum. Nothing works in a vacuum. Okay, no airplanes would work, no cars would start, no rockets would move, nothing would happen. Why can't people believe that? Why can't they see that? It's physical. The jets of a airplane, you know, if you stand behind them, they'll blow you back. You know, they'll blow you back. It's a lot of thrust against the atmosphere. It's that simple. No atmosphere, aka vacuum, you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. Sorry. Whatever they claim with their boosters and total nonsense. People actually believe it. They actually believe it. Special boosters that, you know, their thrust like goes to the front of the vessel and whatever, and that moves it. It's total nonsense. That's assuming that there's atmosphere to push against, but there's none. There's nothing to push against in a vacuum. Nothing. Any direction. It doesn't matter. It's total insanity. And they did all that with less technology than a Game Boy. Game Boy is more complex than anything they had in the 60s. All mechanical. It's insane, man. Oh yeah, when we went to the moon. Total insanity. I can't believe it. It blows my mind every day that people believe we went to the moon. that's how they that's how they rule the sheep and the dummies in this world. You can fool someone like that, you got them, they're done. You can do whatever they want. Tax them 60%, they would still go to work and obey and do everything. They don't have a choice. They can't do anything about it. Whatever they're going to do now, they're going to get away with it, and they're going to do it. They're going to do it. So watch the video. It's going to be a lot different than anything you've seen in those books with those fake images that they created and painted that are not real. And I'm telling you, I can testify that the stars that they zoomed up in the video is exactly what I saw. A bunch of like electricity looking, flickering and waving, not something physical that you can land on that looks like a painted ball. That's what I see with my 60 times zoom camera, which is pretty. They have like 80, and there's probably even higher, but it's still pretty. It's pretty good. I can zoom right up onto the star until it's like big in my lens. I mean, it's not a joke. And not a single, I've zoomed up on Jupiter. I Googled it, I looked at it, where it should be, where you should see it from, and I found it, and it's a little bigger and brighter than all the other stars around it. So I zoomed up on it a few years back, and it was like I was in total shock at how different it looked than what the books, just barely resembles what the books show. Barely. Nothing like it. So I've seen the comments a long time ago. They claim that the camera, what it's seeing is actually false, that there's too much distortion and what it's seeing is fake and unreal and all this nonsense. uh, as if the telescope has some kind of magical power that could see through the atmosphere and not be distorted at all. Total insanity. So what is it? What are they? Are they hologram? Is the moon like a hologram? I don't know. It's probably, it could be something physical, half sphere or something. I don't know. The point is not what they tell you it is. That's all. It's not what they tell you it is. The reason you don't see the other half or other side of the moon is not because everything is timed and spinning so perfectly. And then they tell you evolution, Big Bang. What are the odds of something being timed like that and spinning, going around, the whole galaxy's moving, then the Earth's moving around the sun, then it's spinning, the moon's moving. This is some serious, complex stuff. And it's all moving perfectly for decade after decade. You could never see the other side of the moon. If that's the actual reason from all that spinning, how on earth could anyone believe that that was some kind of accident? They contradict themselves. They're idiots. Total fools that teach, but they know, these people up there, they know. They're snakes. Neil deGrasse Tyson knows that the Earth's not a globe. He knows. Okay, he's a fraud. He's a fool. Bill Nye the Science Guy, he knows. I've seen enough of his videos and seeing someone play the game. You could tell. You can't fake real. Sorry, you could fake most people because they're blind, but ultimately you can't fake real. They're pretending. When somebody says that the Earth is pear-shaped after NASA's already snapped the picture, look, here's the perfectly round sphere. You got a guy who's saying it's pear-shaped. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. They're mocking you. They're saying that because the people literally swallow anything that you tell them, even pear-shaped. Pear-shaped. Crazy, crazy. Watch this video if you haven't. You'll see what I'm talking about, that the stars, the wandering stars, are nothing like what NASA says they are. They just literally make stuff up when they talk about water up there and gases and all this stuff. Just making it all up. That's it on this one. The frequency of the heavens. Peace.